Let's also talk about this Green Investment Pledge. Talked about that a little bit earlier with actually a former Green Party leader, Natalie Bennett. But Labour, we understand Keir Starmer is going to be dropping this £28 billion Green Investment Pledge. There's been a lot of flip-flopping. You know, Pam Counts, the Environmental Secretary, Net Zero Secretary, whatever he's called, Ed Miliband wants to keep it, and some others do. The Shadow Business Secretary had mentioned it, but not the number. Rachel Reeves has talked about possibly it being watered down. Keir Starmer only a couple of days ago was standing by it and used the £28 billion figure, and now it's gone. Look, no numbers have changed in the last few days. Is this just a massive flip-flop, or is it a recognition of reality? There ain't going to be any money if Labour get in.
Well, one of my favourite sayings is, if you never change your mind, why have one? However...
I like that.
However...
When the facts change, you should change your mind.
Well, exactly. However, in all of this, the facts haven't changed, and we've seen for weeks and weeks and months both Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves turn around and say, all of our policies are fully costed. Yeah. Every time they come out and bring them out. Well,
they seem to mostly be paid. Like there's North Sea oil dividends,
or taxing private schools.
Taxing private. That's going to pay for everything.
Well, exactly.
If only someone had thought of that before.
No, it's shocking. But what is clear out of this is that their policies have not been costed. So this is another example of where I don't think we can believe a single thing where they say it's been costed, because they're just proving it wrong. Yeah,
indeed. That said, I approve of people stepping back from policies and changing their minds when they know the numbers are wrong. It was going to be torn apart anyway. Where's this money coming from? But also, you shouldn't be making policies that you can't really fund, and they never really could. And this is about a lot of the promises. Now, this is where I get into... We get the politicians we deserve. If everybody wants to have, again and again and again, people say, oh, politicians lie to us. We require that they do. When they say, yeah, if you want to get a hospital appointment as quick as King Charles, you're going to have to pay a heck of a lot more tax, because the countries that have that sort of healthcare system, it's not only a completely different system, nothing like the NHS, they also pay a heck of a lot more in tax. They really do. You want to have great pensions, you're going to have to earn a lot more and work a lot longer and pay a heck of a lot more tax. And they won't say that. Everyone wants to promise, I'll cut taxes and public services will be brilliant. I'm sorry, you can reform every public service as much as you want. You can take out all the waste as much as you want. You are not going to see a major sea change in those policies and without more money, even in the NHS, in terms of, that's the ones that need the biggest reform. But the reality is we do, we require our politicians to lie to us. Mm-hmm. And then we tell them off for lying to us.
We're getting policy by disinformation. That's information that you know is wrong, you're deliberately putting out to mislead, and by soundbite. And that's the wrong way of doing it.
But they all do it. They're all as bad as each other.
They're all as bad as each other.
The Tories talk a great game on lots of things, like even on the trans thing. Yeah, but it's all a load of nonsense. And again, the net zero, I find fascinating, is that Labour have still got this 2030 pledge that by 2030, all electricity is going to be from renewable sources. It's not. It's not a matter of, it's not about, it's going to cost me. It's not. It's not going to... there is no scintilla of iota of a possibility that that's going to happen. And yet that is still one... I checked this morning, that policy document is still there.
And again, it's clearly unachievable. But what the politicians should be doing is turning around and saying that the UK is ahead of most other countries, and what we're going to do is put a lot of effort into trying to bring other countries up to our standard.
Tell you what, though...
But they're not doing that.
If you shut down all of our industry, it's really easy to hit climate targets. Yeah. But then you ship everything in from China on oil-powered tankers,
and we just
from
factories
that are powered by coal and gas, and then it's literally just accountants playing with your lives, folks. But it's going to cost you a lot more. Let's talk about what's going on in the Middle East, because we know that's a big impact on people. People like to say it's nothing to do with us. I hate to tell you, like Ukraine, nothing to do with us. Has a funny habit of becoming something to do with us. But the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, gave a press conference last night where he rejected outright the Hamas demands for this, their terms for this ceasefire, including the IDF fully withdrawing from Gaza and not returning. He said, this was just absurd and delusional. And he's right, though, isn't he?
Oh, completely right. The conditions that Hamas put out, they knew perfectly well what Netanyahu's red lines would be, because of Netanyahu's extreme side of views, but also the extreme right-wing elements of the coalition that's holding him in power. So they deliberately put those out there, knowing that they'd be rejected out of hand, and they'll then exploit that in the information domain to try and stir up more protests across the world and try and blame Israel for everything that's going on. They're still rocketing Israel.
There's nothing stopping them to stop sending rockets into Israel, which we don't hear about because they've got the defences, or to release the hostages. Just really quickly, there's a US drone strike on Iran-backed militia leaders in Baghdad, in Iraq, obviously. So, I mean, again, it gets very complicated in the Middle East. Basically, everything is Iran-backed. That's just, if they're not on our side, they're Iran-backed. How significant is that? How worried should we be about that?
Very significant in that it took the leader out of the group that the Americans blame for killing their troops at the base in Jordan. It was a surgical attack. It attacked one car with a number of people in it. Fantastic intelligence to pinpoint them there. Fantastic that the weapon went in there. No collateral damage whatsoever.
Thumbs up from Philip Ingram.
Big thumbs up.
That's what we